everybody, Michelle, Sala, the health coach. I'm at Costco today, and I'm going to take you on a little tour of the good, the bad, and the not so good. So I hope that you are excited about this. A lot of us shop at Costco, and there's a lot of great healthy finds. And there's also some finds that look healthy on the outside but aren't. So I'm going to show you that today. So when I shop at Costco, I start off in the produce section, and I mostly do organic. There's some items that I don't like that are non-organic because they are sprayed with a lot of pesticides, like apples, for instance, is something that I will only do organic, so I don't usually buy apples at Costco. Potatoes I don't buy. They do have organic carrots, which actually I'll show you right here. They've got a big bag, 6 pounds of carrots for $5. That's an amazing deal. So if you do stuff like carrot muffins, and now it's the fall and people do a lot of roasting of vegetables, organic carrots are great. The peaches, I don't do the peaches here because, again, that's something that is sprayed with pesticides, and I only buy organic for that. But kiwis are great, non-organic. Things that have a hard peel around it, so like melons are fine, avocados are fine. That's a great thing to get at Costco. Citrus is because it's got a thick outer, that's good to not do organic. So that's in a nutshell in this part. Let's go into the cooler section. Also, I want to give, we're trying to be as mask conscious here as possible without dealing with the glare. So hopefully you can hear me. It's a little noisy with the cooler. These salads here are usually not a good idea, even though many of them say they're organic, because they have a lot of bad inflammatory oils in the dressing packet. So you don't want dressings that have things like canola oil, soybean oil. So I tend to stay away from these kits that have bad oils in it. So it's really important that you could do the vegetable part and then do your own dressing on it if you want. So that is a good way to get around that, but don't do the dressings because they all have either soybean oil or canola oil in them. Organic, but what? So I always first look at the ingredient list, and the dressing, the first ingredient is soybean oil. So the vegetable part is fine, but the dressing part isn't. These power greens are awesome, organic. You can put them in smoothies, you can saute them, you can use them for salads. Spinach is something that you don't want to do non-organic, but Costco has both options, so you can use the organic leafy spinach. That's a great price, $3.99 for that huge tub. The same with the spring mix is also a great price for organic greens. They have the organic romaine hearts, lettuce. You always want to do organic. So things like broccoli, asparagus, they don't attract pests, so they don't really spray them. So those things are fine, non-organic, and you can get a large quantity for a really great price. Artichokes, doesn't matter if they're organic. I don't think they really attract any pests, so I don't think they ever spray artichokes. Peppers are high in pesticides. Personally, I only do organic peppers. I stay away from the peppers here. We've got organic French beans and the sugar snap peas aren't, but oftentimes they do have organic butternut squash, Brussels sprouts. They do have organic, but that's also, it's a high sulfur cruciferous vegetable like cabbage and broccoli, and that is not usually sprayed. It doesn't attract pests, so that's a good option, organic or non-organic. Mushrooms also, they are carrying the organic mushrooms. Even if the item isn't, it doesn't matter if it's organic or not organic from a pesticide point of view, the organic farming is better for the environment. So if the price difference is, there's not much difference, I go for the organic. Okay, so that's the cooler. We're gonna move into the meat section, and we're gonna do this in little segments so that you're not watching a 45-minute video, and then you can watch the next segment, which will be the fresh meat.
So you want me to hit done or keep going? Because the longer you stand here, more people are watching.
Okay, so in the fresh meat, it depends on which Costco you go to. Sometimes you'll find the ground bison. So bison is always grass-fed and grass-finished, which is the fat profile in grass-fed, grass-finished meat is the healthiest you can get. So the ground bison is always a good choice. They do have organic ground beef here, but it isn't grass-finished, and so the fat profile isn't as healthy, but it's still a better option than conventionally raised meat. So those are the ground meat options here at Costco. So it runs about $10 a pound for both the ground beef and the ground bison. Definitely stay away from this section if you're trying to change your health and lose weight and reduce inflammation. Just stay away from processed anything, really. Anything in a box or in a bag, you should stay away from. So fish-wise, you want wild-caught fish. Farm fish has antibiotics, pesticides, and other chemicals that are not good for health. So you can find wild-caught halibut here, wild Dover sole, wild lobster tails. I stay away from farmed shrimp, especially if it's from Asia, Vietnam, those countries. I stay away from the farmed trout. Tilapia is probably one of the worst fish you can buy. It's just garbage fish. It's always farmed. I probably just ruined it for a lot of people that like tilapia. You definitely want to stay away from the farmed salmon. See how light colored it is? It's, I think sometimes they'll have a sign that says it's antibiotic free, but there's still so many chemicals that are used in it. And the color of the fish, of the flesh of the fish isn't even normal. That's not what a salmon looks like in the wild. So it's kind of the end of the wild fish season. There's a little bit of wild king salmon left, but pretty much the beginning of the summer, you'll find the sockeye, wild sockeye here, and then towards the end of the summer, you'll find the king salmon or the coho, but it's pretty much the end of wild salmon season. So going forward, if you want salmon, you really should buy it frozen. Okay. Oh, look, you can see the difference. Look at the wild fish, how the deep color of the flesh is compared to this pale, sickly farmed fish. And be conscious of that when you go into restaurants as well, because a lot of times they don't tell you if it's wild or farmed, and so ask them if it's farmed. If it says it Atlantic salmon on the menu, it's always farmed and you want to stay away from it. I stay away from the pork here because it's conventionally raised. I stay away from the other conventionally raised meat. They do have a pretty decent selection of organic chicken. Organic side, let's go on the other side. Sometimes they move it around on me. So organic chicken or organic turkey is available here. You can get whole chickens too, and what I'll do is I'll cut them up and then in pieces, and I'll save the backs and the bones. I'll make bone broth, and so really you're not paying much more than conventionally raised chicken, and the quality of the meat is much better. What else I got here today? All right. Okay, so I get asked about the rotisserie chickens for $4.99, and it's very inexpensive. They're not even making money off of those chickens. They are not organic. You don't know what spices have been put on them. So even though the price is very attractive, you don't want to get sucked into the rotisserie chicken. It's easy to buy your own whole chicken, rub spices on it, and stick it in the oven for an hour and a half. So stay away from the $4.99 rotisserie chicken. I stay away from all of these pre-packaged, pre-made, because they always have canola, soybean oil. When I see new things, I look at the ingredient list. So I'll point out the things that I think are decent. That first pot here, I haven't seen this before, but let's see what it's got in it. Beef shepherd's pie. That's actually something I make from scratch a lot. Vegetable base. Actually, this one doesn't look too bad. It's carb, and it's not too carby at all. Oh, it has carrageenan in it. Forget it. So carrageenan is a thickener that can be irritating to the gut of a lot of people. But the oils, they use virgin olive oil. Natural flavors can be a dubious thing, so it may not necessarily be that natural, and they don't have to, food manufacturers actually don't have to disclose how it's made. So it can be inflammatory for some people, natural flavors. It's not terrible. If carrageenan isn't a problem for you, then it might be something to consider every once in a while. Here, let's look at smoked pulled pork. It's conventionally raised pork, but let's see. I mean, every once in a while you need to do something for convenience sake. Pork, water, salt, spice, extract, sodium nitrate. So it's got nitrites in it, which isn't awesome if you were to do that every once in a while, but a steady diet of processed meats and nitrates and nitrites have been shown to contribute to colon cancer, so that's just something to consider. Okay, so there's some protein bars here that my clients will find and they'll ask me about. Personally, they're too carby for me. 25 grams of carb is just too many carbs for one meal. Also, it has whey protein isolate, which is isolated proteins are. So those bars I don't love. There's some other bars in the non-refrigerated section that I like that I'll show you. I'm not a big fan of tofu myself. Sliced grass beef sirloin. This is new. Huh. It's cooked, ready to eat. You always have to check to see what's new because they rotate stuff. So it just has peppercorns, dehydrated garlic, sea salt. Oh crap, it's got, see, they ruined it with canola oil though. So, you know, once in a while, if they just had used something like avocado oil or even like coconut oil, it would have been better, but not terrible. Just canola oil isn't ideal for all the time. I love this wild brine sauerkraut. It has natural probiotics. I used to make a lot of my own fermented vegetables, and I just kind of have gotten out of the habit. So I'll buy this and I'll eat it alongside salads and eggs even. Oh, I did look at this last week when I was with a client. Organic caramelized onion chicken burgers. And I don't think I found anything bad in here. Yeah, they use extra virgin olive oil. So this is a great option if you need something quick to eat. So it's really important, even if it's something says organic or grass-fed, you still need to read the ingredients list. Let's see. I do like this basil pesto. I think it's even from Italy. Yeah, imported from Italy. That's good. That'll actually last in your refrigerator for a couple of weeks. Stay away from the pastas. So even though it's organic, it's just really too high carbs for my average client that's trying to lose weight and reduce inflammation. I stay away from these salads because, again, you're gonna there's gonna be canola oil in it. Look at this one: potato starch, canola oil. Look at, there's just too many. When you see that many ingredients, it's just too processed. This actually tastes really good, but it does have canola oil in it. It's actually a keto thing. So if you're minimizing canola oil and you're taking the right ratio of omegas as a supplement, then you can get away with a little bit of canola oil every once in a while. And the problem with processed oils is these oils are too high in omega-6s and not high enough in omega-3s, and when we have this imbalance of these oils, that's when we get inflammation and damage to the cell membrane. Okay, so this wild smoked salmon is great. That's super healthy. It's it'd help if it was the right side up. Smoked salmon is usually just salt, smoked flavor, and the salmon itself. So that is a great option for a snack or to put on a salad. More smoked salmon. All of this ham has nitrates and nitrites in it, so you want to stay away from this. So this prosciutto from Italy, it's just pork and salt. And I do buy this all the time. So it doesn't have nitrates or nitrites to cure it. It's just cured with salt. And the Italians don't feed their animals the same crap that we do. So even though it doesn't say grass-fed or pasture-raised, they're not raising them the same as we are. Okay. Oh, these are good. I found these last week. This is a good option for those people that are looking for something that's a healthier, no nitrates or nitrites. Breakfast sausage. Cheeses. I really have my clients stay away from conventionally raised dairy, so I would stay away from, whether it's organic, we have some organic cheddar here. So if you're gonna do some cheese, then you want to stick with organic. So this, if it doesn't say organic, it's all raised. The cattle has all been eating genetically modified feed, sprayed with glyphosate, and that comes out through the milk. Things that are, it looks like it's made in Italy because it's got an Italian name, but it's made here. But imported cheeses are a different story. So they don't have any in this aisle. Let's see. Are we okay with the video? Okay. Let's see. Chicken breast bites. I've looked at these before. Dehydrated chicken flavor, chicken broth, natural flavor, potato starch, canola oil. No, ixnay on those. Okay, I like this section. I love these little individual sized guacamoles because you can control the amount you're eating. And there's 16. If you can't eat them all within the date, you can throw them in the freezer and they defrost really well. So avocados, guacamole are great when you're on an anti-inflammatory diet and and you're trying to lose weight, keto. Hummus is okay in small quantities. A lot of it's canola oil, so you have to read the label and you have to be very careful with the quantity because it does have a lot of carbs. So this one has canola oil in it. Even though it's organic, it's still not fabulous because of the canola oil. But this one doesn't have canola oil in it. And I like it because the individual size, you can control how much you eat. I think it's like 12 grams of carbs or 11 grams of carbs. So that's not too bad. Or a snack, you could do it with celery sticks or carrot sticks. Have looked at. This really is a nice, it's got way too many undesirable ingredients. And this one has soybean oil in it. It's good, but it's got soybeans. So you know, you have a little bit of this and you have a little bit of that, and it just all adds up. So that's why you need to pay attention. So I was trying to find the other cheese. Okay, here's where the imported cheeses are. So, cheese that comes from Italy and France, they feed their cows a lot better diet, like I mentioned. So I will buy the French brie. I do. This isn't imported, but goats eat differently cleaner than cows. So I will buy the goat cheese. The Spanish Manchego, I do buy. So this Kerrygold from Ireland, they are grass-fed cows, so that is a good one to buy. So even though this has like a ranchero, you know, it looks like it's imported, it's made here, so it's going to be conventionally raised. More imported cheese. No. So I stay away from Gorgonzola if it's made here in this country, but if it's from a different country, France or Italy, I'll buy it. What else do I like here? So this fake cheese, it does, well, it's not fake, but it doesn't melt well. I think they put like some kind of an anti-cake agent. So you're really better off buying the wedge of cheese and grating it yourself fresh. So this is Pecorino Romano, is made from sheep milk. I like that one a lot. It's from Italy. And then this one is the Parmesan, and that's from cow's milk, but it is a lot healthier than cow's milk from here. So There was, sometimes you'll find these, this is not it, these cauliflower wraps, and I didn't see them in any of, and they're a lot bigger, and so if you ever see those at Costco, it's cauliflower powder and egg, and it looks like a big tortilla, and that's a much better option than eating regular tortillas if you need a tortilla fix. I didn't see them, so maybe they don't have them today. I pretty much don't shop in this dairy department except for the organic eggs. That's the only thing I'll get in there. Egg bites. I haven't looked at these before. Let's see what's in these. It's got pasteurized non-fat milk, yogurt, bell pepper, butter, cornstarch, and canola oil. Nope. Don't like it. So something like this, it's great from a keto perspective, but it's really not great for an everyday perspective because it does have nitrites and nitrates and conventionally raised cheese, dairy. Okay, let's move along. So you always want to stay away from anything to package. There are some bars that I'll show you, but really anything with an ingredient list, you're always going to get yourself in trouble. Oh, let's do frozen. Let's see. Okay, so when the salmon is no longer in season fresh, then I'll buy the wild frozen, and it's all individually wrapped, and it's about $10 a pound, which is good. You want to stay away from the tilapia. You want to stay away from the fish sticks. I stay away from the shrimp unless it says wild. So things like the wild mahi-mahi is a good choice. Wild halibut is a good choice. And those are great to have in your freezer, and they're individually wrapped, and you can individually defrost them. Wild caught salmon burgers. Let's see what's in these. Here's some wild sockeye. Potato extract, mustard flour. They're not terrible. They're pretty low carb, but oh, canola oil, forget it. See, gotta read the labels. Wild scallops are a good choice, healthy choice. They're not cheap, but it's a good splurge every once in a while. So everything else here, it's going to be breading and stuff like that. You want to stay away from that sort of thing. So let's go to the end. Oh, okay. So let's look at the keto ice cream. So people are on keto diets and they see the keto ice cream bars. I have looked at these before. So it's 2 grams of net carbs, no added sugar, gluten-free, soy-free. It's got MCT oil, cream, whole milk, salted caramel base, natural flavor, xanthan gum, which is fine, erythritol, most people can handle erythritol, sunflower lecithin, MCT oil, stevia. This isn't too bad. Vegetable glycerin, guar gum. Actually, I think that sounds good for a treat. I'll have to buy that next time I'm here shopping. I think though that it should just be as a treat, because what happens is people substitute, they go back to their old ways of eating with the substitutes, and then you still don't lose any weight, because calorie wise you still need a calorie deficit at the end of the day if you want to lose weight. But this isn't bad for a treat. What's that? Waffle, raspberries, dark chocolate with raspberries. Let's see what this is. You never know what you're gonna find here. Dark chocolate raspberries, soy lecithin, whole milk powder. So as long as you don't have a dairy issue, it still has 10 grams of carb for 1 ounce. So 1 ounce isn't very much. So if you can't control and you're not counting your carbs, then you may get in trouble with something like that. So I personally, this is only 20 ounces, so that would be 20 servings for the whole bag. And I could probably see myself eating maybe 5 or 6 ounces in one. Just 1 ounce wouldn't be enough. So that would be something you'd have to be very careful with, although ingredient-wise it looks okay. All right, let's look at this healthy choice for Let's see. Weight Watchers Smart Points 5. Organic skim milk, organic sugar. So sugar is the second ingredient, and when sugar is the first or second ingredient, that means it's going to be high carb. So it's got 19 grams of carbs in this, 14 grams of total sugar. So a lot of you have heard me talk about how do you figure out how many teaspoons of sugar is in something. You divide it by 4. So 4 divided by 14 is 4. That's 4.5 teaspoons of sugar, right? I did the math right. So 4.5 teaspoons of sugar is too much. 4, right? 4.5, yeah. So forget that it's only 100 calories. That 4.5 teaspoons of sugar is going to spike your blood sugar, and it's just going to store those calories as fat. Whereas that keto bar that was 180 calories and only 2 grams, it's not going to make any difference in your blood sugar. So don't get sucked into the only 100 calories, because this has 4.5 teaspoons. Think about what 4.5 teaspoons look like if you were going to be putting it in coffee or your cereal. So this is not a good choice. We won't even go with the regular stuff. Actually, well, let's for kicks. Let's see what happens. Okay, these are the regular ice cream bars. 280 calories, so it's got a lot of calories. 22 grams of carbs, 20 grams of sugar. So 4 into 20 is 5. So this has 5 teaspoons of sugar. It only has it's only got a half a teaspoon more sugar than this one. So what it's going to do to your blood sugar is about the same, but the reason why this has more calories is because it's got the full fat, whereas that had skim milk, and that's how they cut down the calories. So in the 80s, when there was a push to go more low fat, they replaced fat with sugar. So even though calorie wise it looked okay, people were just mainlining the sugar. So this isn't a great option, but it's really not much worse than that one. All right, moving along. Okay, usually things like acai bowls have way too many carbs, so even though it looks like it would be good and organic, so it's got granola and oats and tapioca sugar syrup and organic invert sugar and sunflower So this has 19 per bowl. Let's see. Per bowl with topping, it has 29 grams of carbs and 12 grams of sugar. So this has 3 teaspoons of sugar in it. So it's not great. If you're trying to eat low carb, you're gonna feel hungry in a few hours. It's not gonna be satisfying. So even though the ingredients look okay, carb-wise, not so good. Okay, frozen vegetables are actually really healthy for you because they're flash frozen when they're at their peak freshness. So that's a really good thing to have on hand if you have the freezer space. They've got a lot of organic greens here. Organic green beans, this mix. Edamame. I'm not huge on soy. A lot of people that have gut issues have issues with soy. I like this organic riced cauliflower. They used to sell it in the fresh section and in a big bag, but nobody could ever use that bag fast enough. So what's nice about the frozen is you can just use as much as you need for that portion. So if you're one person or several people, it's a great price. So I love that option instead of regular rice if you're eating low carb. I like these antioxidant blend for either the organic blueberries or the berry mix. I keep in the freezer and I'll throw a handful in a smoothie when I do a smoothie. I'm not a huge smoothie person, but every once in a while I do like a smoothie. So let's go. And then fruit. So things like berries, strawberries, blueberries, you always want organics, and they do have that option here at Costco. So this cauliflower crust, I think, well, there was something about it I didn't like. I'm not a big green bell pepper fan, but I think it might have had canola oil in it. It's just pretty carby. That's it. But still, if you're trying to eat gluten-free and you like green peppers, it's not terrible. It's a good option. There's some other ones that I like one at Trader Joe's and that cauliflower brand I like, which you can even get at Walmart. Okay, so that's pretty much what I do in the freezer section. So the Kerrygold butter is the Irish butter made from the grass-fed cows from Ireland. So that's a good price. I buy that. And then organic butter. I don't really like the Kerrygold for baking. It's got a weird consistency. So if I need butter for baking, then I'll just buy the regular organic butter. So that's here. So now let's go to the dry goods section. I'm trying to do this as fast as possible because I don't want people to be bored. And I know it's in the middle of the day. I wanted to go to Costco early. So fruit juices you want to stay away from. They're just too high in sugar. Yogurt you want to stay away from. Cereal you want to stay away from. You can buy organic coffee here. If you're a coffee drinker, you always want to drink coffee organic. Okay, let's go down this aisle. Okay, so shelf-stable peanut butter, you always want to stay away from. This is natural, so I think you do have to. But things like Skippy, they have emulsifiers. If it's like Jif, It'll have trans fats. If it's anything says partially hydrogenated or hydrogenated oil, then that is a trans fat, and that's inflammatory. So if you do eat peanut butter or nut butter, you want the kind that you have to put in the refrigerator as soon as you open it. Peanuts, for a lot of people, are inflammatory, so I recommend almond butter or some other kind of, I like this mixed nut butter is a better option than peanut butter. You want to definitely stay away from the Nutella because it's full of sugar. Stay away from jams. Even though it's organic, it's still full of sugar. A little maple syrup every once in a while isn't bad. And you can find organic here, and that's a great price. Honey is also something you want to minimize, and it always should be raw, unpasteurized, because when they pasteurize honey, it kills all of the good bacteria and all of the beneficial things in honey, but really honey needs to be used sparingly. And if you do eat honey, I think it's better. Oh, here's Utah raw honey. So you should do honey that comes from around where you live, because the bees are getting pollen from the local surrounding areas, and there's a theory that if you eat honey from around where you live, it helps with allergies. I don't know if that works or not, but I've heard that many a time. Cold brew coffee usually has too much sugar in it. Oh, this is just coffee, water, and coffee extract. Huh. Okay. It's not organic though. Chai tea definitely has too much sugar in it. Oh, there's the paleo bars. Where were you trying to get me to go? The beer?
I think you should talk about it.
Well, I think most people know that beer isn't optimal for a diet, especially a keto diet or a low-carb anti-inflammatory. Okay, so these paleo bars I do like. The ingredients are super clean. They are a little on the carby side. So there's 14 grams of carbs and 4 grams of fiber. So you subtract the fiber from the carbs and you get 10 grams. So if that's your snack, then or your meal, like sometimes I'll have one late morning and I don't have breakfast, and so it's okay in a pinch. You just don't want to be eating several of these a day. So it depends on what your weight loss goals are, what your health goals, and what your blood sugar is, but ideally you want to be like between 50 and 75 grams of carbs, and if you really are trying to lose a lot of weight, then you want to be under 50 grams of carbs a day. So I don't count calories, but I do pay attention to how carby things are. Splenda is never a good idea. It's just super inflammatory. It affects your gut bacteria. So it is probably one of the worst, that and aspartame as far as a sweetener substitute. Okay, everything here is just carby and processed. Crackers, chips, the chicharrones. So this is, some dirty keto people will do these chicharrones, which is just fried pork fat. Personally, I just think it's way too inflammatory. It's 0 carbs, and I guess if you need to do something because you're having some kind of a chip craving, but it would be considered like dirty keto, not clean keto. So for those of you who don't know what I mean by dirty keto, so you can basically eat a keto diet with bacon and eggs and conventional cheese, but as far as having a rich diet in good nutrients and high quality nutrients, you're not going to get that with a dirty keto diet. So yeah, you might lose some weight, but are you really supporting all your body systems and getting the proper antioxidants and that sort of thing? Okay, so I do buy a lot of these nuts, and I'll soak them and dehydrate them, because if you do eat a lot of nuts, nuts are high in phytic acid. And so what happens is if you eat a lot of foods that are high in phytic acids, they'll bind to nutrients like zinc, and then what happens is then you become deficient in zinc, which you need zinc, especially right now. Zinc is super important for immune function, and is something that helps to prevent from contracting things like COVID and colds and flus. So nuts are a good option, but if you eat a lot of nuts, you really want to soak them and dehydrate them. And oil-wise, coconut oil is a good option for cooking. It's become really cheap. It is a lower heat oil though, so it's not really for high heat cooking. There is organic extra virgin olive oil here. I don't usually buy that one. I like to buy oil for the most part in glass, in smaller sizes, because it just is fresher. And I love avocado oil for higher heat cooking. They used to sell it in glass and they changed it to plastic, but I really like this oil a lot. And stay away from the canola. Canola is super processed. They use a lot of chemicals, and it gets oxidized in the whole process. And where's the ghee? Let's see. Here's some olive oil spray, and I really like that Chosen Foods brand. Forget the canola. Oh, here's the ghee. So this is grass-fed ghee. So ghee is clarified butter, and they take the milk solids out, and it's great for high heat cooking. It actually has a really long shelf life. You don't have to refrigerate it. And this is what I use for the majority of my cooking. And then next is the avocado oil, and I almost never use coconut oil anymore. So there's one more. This is a good choice too. Coconut milk. It's great as a dairy substitute for heavy cream if you have dairy issues. Okay, we've got to wrap this up in a couple minutes because we're both out of time. Also, did I thank my friend Matt Givens for doing this for me earlier? Thank you, Matt. Okay, organic barbecue sauce. Let's see what this has to say. Nobody's yelled at me yet for having my mask flipped up. Tomato puree, sugar, distilled vinegar, natural smoke. It's just high in sugar. So like there's 14 grams of carbs and 13 of that is added sugar. So that's 3 teaspoons of sugar in 2 tablespoons. So diet wise, like weight loss wise, not great. Ingredient wise, not bad. You want to stay away from this kind of mayo because it's got soybean oil in it. So this is the mayo that I like, and this brand, you can get it at health food stores like Sprouts and Whole Foods, and this is the price of like a half the size of this at a regular store. So this is a really good price for this mayo that's made from avocado oil. And oh, I love hemp hearts. They're super high in, they're really clean protein source. They're high in protein, and they're nutty, so you can sprinkle them on salads, or you can I make like protein balls with them with nut butter. And that's a really good price on that. And the only two things that are left are the canned fish. Olives are a great choice for diet. Sun-dried tomatoes. I think the canned fish is on the other side. Okay, so I stay away from just the Kirkland because I don't know what kind of testing, where they get these fish from. So Wild Planet is a sustainable caught brand, although I like this brand the best because they test every single fish that they catch for mercury. So they use small skipjack tuna, and because they're smaller, they don't accumulate mercury like these other bigger fish do. So this is actually safe for children and pregnant women to eat a can every day, and you can't say that about other kind of tuna. So I love this. It's called Safe Catch is the brand. And then the other thing that I like are, a lot of people don't like sardines, but I do. And it's in 100% olive oil, so sometimes they'll put sardines in soybean oil or canola, but this is 100% olive oil, and sardines are a really great source of omega-3s and also high in protein, and a really clean fish because they're small. So, all right, I'm going to wrap it up here because we both have to go. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys learned something from this, and I appreciate any comments, any feedback, and hope you have a great day.